I'm Richard Jackson, and I'm an artist from Los Angeles. I live in Sierra Madre, near Pasadena, California. And I'm here to perform the car wash. What we're doing here is we're taking an object and changing its context. I mean, we're taking a new car, and somebody buys a new car, and they give it to me, and I give them back a sculpture. And so what we're doing is we're transforming the car into a work of art. I have a friend whose husband installs these machines and services them when they have a problem. And somehow there are machines around that people who bought them don't want them anymore. And so he said, you know, that there are machines around, we could buy one very cheap. Would you want one? So I thought, yeah, you know, like that'd be great, you know, be something new. And I could maybe figure out something to do with it. And then right away, like less than a few weeks, right away he found this one that I have here, and it was really a machine to polish cars more than to wash them. I went and picked it up and then took it to the studio and modified it to destroy a car. But it has to be a new car, of course, because you know, the tradition of my work is that like collectors have to give something up. You know, they have to change. Like it's, you know, what's happening in the art world now is that the collectors are in charge, and they're directing the way the art market's formed. You know, we have art fairs, we have art online, everything's easy for the art collectors, you know? And my work traditionally for 40 years has always been, they have to change their mind about what they think art is. And so they have to give up something, like all the wall paintings were permanent fixtures in the building. So they had to give up a wall to realize one of my works of art. And this is the same thing. This is like, you know, I mean, art collectors are materialists, you know, obviously, or they wouldn't be collecting things. You know, they're collecting things. And so they're materialists. And so what I'm trying to do is take something that's real and new material and transforming it into art. So they have to give something up. Basically what's happening in the art community is the galleries are supplying the collectors with a format that they're comfortable with, like going to art fairs with each other. They don't hardly come to the galleries anymore. And what I do is very dependent on people coming to a place. And so that's changing, and I'm trying to change it back, and probably not having a lot of success. Well, I think you can't change. I mean, I don't know. What you need to change the situation is you need help. You know, like artists have to collectively somehow, not collectively get together, but I think what artists have to do to change things is decide they've had enough. You know, and so what you have is you have a lot of money, you know, right now, because the rich people are getting richer. And so what you have is you have a big bunch of money. And what money does is it attracts conservative people. So the galleries are getting more conservative in what they do. And not only that, the artists that are produced out of the universities or art schools are more conservative in their approach. They're just supplying the system. They don't want to change anything, like I'm trying to change something. They don't want to change anything, they just want to be part of it. You know, like this is a different art process than they're used to. Like they have to, like their value system gets a little bit twisted, you know? Like hey, this is a new car, you know? Like we have an old car, in our garage that we hardly ever drive. Could we bring that? Well, no. You know, like this, I'm not a, I'm not a trash collecting company, you know. Cars are pretty interesting, you know, because they're different than they were when they first were invented or whatever. You know, they keep kind of progressing in a way. Like today, we walked by a car that's really beautiful, made in California. It's all electric. It's kind, you know, like that's very, very different than the cars I grew up with. You know, they're progressive, you know, and people do, you know, they are, you know, they're an important part of the society that I live in. And, you know, you can't go anywhere without a car, unfortunately. I think art's a documentation of how you've spent your time. And if all you're trying to do is spend your time making the same thing look different, it's not the way I choose to spend my time. I choose to spend my time in a more involved kind of way. You know, I think that you should be able to learn something from the process, and it should be also like an experience. You know, like art should be an experience for people rather than just an object. Well, I like the idea of, you know, taking something new and making something different out of it. And then too, I guess, you know, it's like, I guess, you know, art's a little bit about dealing in the unknown, you know, like I don't know what this thing's going to look like, but I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with, you know, not knowing how things are going to turn out. But I'll take whatever happens, you know, like I have a different value system. When I finish something, I really don't like to look at it. You know, like I don't think that you can make the same kind of value judgments about my work that you can make with other work, you know. I mean, sometimes things are very beautiful accidentally, but I don't think you can, you know, like I can't. I really I really don't care what it looks like, because whatever it looks like, that's documentation of the process. It can be ugly, it can be beautiful, it can be both, it can be partly this and partly that. So I think that's the way you have to deal with it. When this thing here happens, you know, like I don't go back, you know, like a painter would go back, you know, they on the canvas and then they step back and go, needs a little something on the left side. And then they, you know, and then they step back again. Oh, now it needs something over here, you know. And they just fool around with it. I just think that I just can't imagine doing something like that. You know, that you just work on something until it's beautiful and you can't draw. I don't get it. Yeah, it's like getting things out of control and see what happens, you know, and maybe, I don't know, you know, maybe when we run this thing Thursday night, maybe Jesus will appear on the floor or something. I have no idea. I have no idea.